Hey, everybody, John Harris here. You can see with the trusty clipboard with my pal Billy Smith here from the cheap seats to finish our picks for this week, week 12 in the NFL. There are no buys. We've had 4 games done already. Bill is 3-1 on picks and 3-1 against the spread. I am 3-1 on picks as well, but 2-2 against the spread. So Bill's is ahead of me by a game. We both are 1-2 with a push on the over/under. That could change, of course, at any time here. I've picked most of my games already, so Bill will give me his picks. There are a couple I may pick as we go along because some spreads changed this morning. We will pick up. The big surprise was Detroit with Green Bay. Green Bay looked a lot better, I thought, on offense. Detroit laid an egg, basically. Goff had 3 turnovers. That didn't help. So we're going to sit back and watch because he does tend to turn the ball over every so often. And he had 3 picks, I believe, the other day, and that hurt. So Green Bay takes the game from Detroit, which cost both me and Bill. I also took the under, and of course Green Bay had a good day, so I lost the under. Bill did win the over there. But the other games, Washington, Dallas, San Francisco, Seattle, Miami, Jets, pretty much went the way we thought. We did both have a push on the over/under, I believe it was. Yes, 44. It was exactly right where it was. So we're ready to go. Bill, we got Jacksonville at Houston in one of the early games. It is Jacksonville by 1.5 and a 48 over/under.
Yeah, this could be actually one of the games of the week here because
I agree.
Houston at home, they've been playing very well. The rookie quarterback just been a gunslinger, throwing the ball
Stroud.
over,
Yeah.
and and he's got Hopkins and Dell and a couple other fellows there that he's been keeping them in games.
Yeah.
Um, but Jacksonville, I think, is the cream of the crop in that division. So we're gonna go with Jacksonville and give the 1.5, and I'll take the over. I think it should be a high
All right.
scoring game.
I took Houston across the board, so that's going to be my upset pick of the week. And I'm taking the under. I think if it goes over, I think Jacksonville will win, and I think that's why Houston's got to keep it under. A little better defense, I think, than Jacksonville. Uh, so that'll be interesting. So we've got one difference there, Bill.
Go.
That'll be fun. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. Joe Burrow, of course, done for the season for Cincinnati. Pittsburgh is picked by 2.5. They've had trouble scoring points. The over/under is 36. But Cincinnati's not going to score a whole lot of points, I don't think, either, without Burrow. So there you have it. It's in Cincinnati.
Yeah, this could be like a 17-14 game, and
I think you're
Pittsburgh's not lighting the world on fire either with that dismal offense. They did pick up cut their offensive coordinator, so
yeah.
that should be interesting to see what happens there. Um, Division game. Uh, I still like Cincinnati's offense a tad better than Pittsburgh for some reason here, even with a backup quarterback. So I'm going to take Cincinnati
Okay.
with set at home
All right.
and the under and the under.
I took Pittsburgh across the board, so we got another one. But I believe I took the over. Um, I'm starting to lean against it. You know what? I'm going to keep it only because the new offensive coordinator, they might make some things go. He might pass the ball downfield more. So I'm going to take a shot at the over in Pittsburgh. So we're going to differ completely on that one. So that's good. That's fun. Carolina,
Yeah,
Tennessee. I'm sorry.
Pickett's
Go.
just going back on that. Pickett's starting to look like a bust. I
I
don't
tend
see
to
much
agree.
with them.
I think we'll find out the rest of the season with the new offensive coordinator if he can throw the ball to Pickett and if he can do some things. I will say him not having his starting tight end the rest of the season, Fryermuth, I think hurts him. But still, he's got to show me something. But I will say most of his attempts have been less than 5 yards. So, it might not be him. I guess we can sit back, watch the rest of the season, but you may be right. As of now, if somebody said, is he your franchise quarterback? I would have to go with no. And if I was in a playoff hunt, which they may still be, and Pickett doesn't pick up, last game or two, I'd consider putting Mitch Trubisky in there to get into the playoffs. Because, like I said, if he doesn't show me something soon, Trubisky will throw the ball down the field. He'll audible out of stuff and throw it down the field.
Yeah.
Part of the problem was he takes risks. But if you're Pittsburgh at some point, you might have to take some risks. And so
he could run too. So
yeah. And the only problem with that is if you do that, you have then pretty much said Pickett's not our quarterback of the future.
Right.
Because if you bench him because you're not going to get in the playoffs, you're basically telling him and everybody else we don't believe in you. So that's a tough call to make, but Mike Tomlin's good at making those things, so he'll do what he's got to do for his team. Carolina, Tennessee, in Nashville. Tennessee's picked by 3.5. Over under is 36.5.
Yeah, this one's going to be one of those yawner games, I think. I mean, the only good bright spot is for Tennessee is the quarterback Levis.
Well, they still have Derrick Henry too, right? But he's not having the
Yeah,
season.
but yeah, he's
He's not
not
having the
having
season that, yeah.
season. Carolina offensively is just dismal. They have no running game, no offensive line.
No, they make Pittsburgh look explosive.
Yeah, Frank Reich's on the hot seat here, even though it may
Which is a
not be.
shame, really, because he just doesn't have the horses. It's not, I don't blame him at all for this. He hasn't gotten a chance, I don't think, either place he's been.
Yeah.
Indy was probably a season or two away if they could have gotten some players. And then the
Mhm.
same thing for in Carolina. He's got a quarterback, but he's got really one weapon at the
Yeah,
most?
yeah, feeling. And like I said, they're not throwing the ball down the field either.
No.
Thielen's, possession, 5 to 10 yard guy. And
Yeah, he's a slot guy, 5 to 10 yards. You're right, or number two, but he's not that. They don't have that breakaway threat, and they don't really
yeah,
have running
in the NFL, you got to stretch the field. That opens up the running game, and
up everything. Yep.
but I think I'd like Tennessee at home. Um, I struggle with the over under, but I'm going to take the under just because
Well, that's exactly what I did, and I struggled
I
with it
don't.
too, but I took the under. Um, yeah, I just can't see it getting. You know what? For fun, I'll take the over. It could be 21-16 or something like that. Just it'll be a
Yeah.
couple of my overs. It's because I think they're barely going to be over.
Hmm.
I agree with your complete analysis there. I think Tennessee is going to move the ball a little bit more than Carolina is also. New England and the Giants. New England has yet to name their starting quarterback, but I still think it's going to be Mac Jones. The Giants are starting a kid from Staten Island to make sandwiches again because they got nobody else. Uh, he doesn't. If anybody's watching, don't take that to heart. It's Tommy DeVito, and he's a backup basically. He's a young kid. He's a backup, and he's filling the rest of the season. That's basically
Yeah.
it.
It's good
Giants.
to see the young guys get a shot. You
Yeah,
never
it's
know.
good. It's good. It's a shame it's an injury to Daniel Jones for it to happen. But I mean, here's a chance for him to prove to himself and to maybe some NFL people, can I play this game? Uh, New England Giants. New England's picked by 4.5 now. The point spread went up a whole point in the last couple of days. And I'm trying to see, is it 44.5? I don't know what it is here, or 45 even on the.
It was 33.5 last I looked.
Yeah, it changed quite a bit, but you might be right. Let me just double check here. 34. That's what it is. I don't know where this came from. It's 34 now on the over under as we speak. I am going to go with the over That's one of them I was telling you. That's a barely over. It
Yeah.
might be like 20 to 16. You know, it might not even get to that. I might lose that. I'm taking a chance on the over, to be honest. That is a gamble. But and I took New England across the board.
No, he took New England. All right. I took the Giants. An upset.
Okay.
They still got Barkley, and I, s- even with Barkley, I think they're the more talented team over New England. To be honest with you. So we're gonna take the
Overall, you
Giants.
may be right, but I think Belichick with the defensive mind, and a rookie starting his third game quarterback, I just think it's too much for the Giants to overcome.
If Belichick loses this one, he
Oh,
I don't know.
he's he should just go ahead and put that AARP membership in and just ride off into the sunset. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
don't think it'll happen because he's got a huge ego too. So, all right, 34 over or under, bud.
I got the over barely also.
Yeah, that's how I'm gonna. That's over, but it's barely. So we got a difference there on the teams. Okay. Indy, Tampa Bay, 43 and a half point over under, 3 point. Indy's given up 3 points.
We're gonna go with the Colts.
Okay.
But we're gonna say it's gonna be a low scoring game. It could be like a 20-17 or something like that. So we're gonna go Colts in the under.
Okay. I went Colts, but I went with the over.
Yeah.
Minshew might get a chance to air it out. We'll see. And Baker, if they fall behind, will have to air it out. So we'll see what happens. Well, either team, if they fall behind, the other one's going to have to start
Yeah.
chucking it. So, but I went with Indy as well, even though that's really the underdog pick. We're both taking the underdog there. So.
Yeah.
Um,
No. The Tampa Bay's
oh no,
pick.
you're right. Tampa Bay's pick or Indy's picked by 3. You're right. I'm sorry. I apologize. New Orleans, Atlanta, that went from 1 to 2 points on the spread, probably because Carr is going to play. But the Saints are picked to beat Atlanta in Atlanta by 2. Ritter is back as your quarterback for Atlanta.
Okay, you sure that was because the last I looked, the Saints were +1.
I
So
just looked
okay,
minutes
so
ago.
they
It was plus
that's who it
one.
was.
I mean, I can double check it pretty quick, but I literally just before we came on the show checked all these numbers.
I mean, now that's a big spread. They went from
Yeah, one to
+1
two.
to
That's kind of a big jump usually on game.
-2. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2. And the
So the
over
Saints
under
are getting Saints are getting 2.
no, they're given 2.
All right, so now they're the underdog.
Yeah, they're given 2 and it's 42 and a half on the over under.
All right, yeah, they were +1 earlier. Yeah, with Carr, and even if Carr wasn't, I was taking the Saints and the over.
Okay. I took New Orleans to win. Well, it's only 2, so I'm gonna stick with that. But I'm gonna go under. Why not? I don't think either team has been lighting it up on offense. So I'm gonna go, not that 42 and a half is lighting it up anyway, but I'm gonna go with the under. I think it could be a 17-14 game,
Okay.
which means New Orleans, which means they barely cover and be under. So I'll give that a shot. Cleveland, Denver. Denver picked by 1.5. It is in Denver. The over under is 37 points. And this is a tough game, I think.
Yeah, this one here, I was going back and forth constantly. Um, Cleveland starting their backup quarterback,
Yeah.
um, but didn't play bad last week, and their defense is
No,
phenomenal.
no. And Cleveland's defense is outstanding.
Yeah,
Um,
and Denver's been putting it together consecutive
yeah,
weeks, hanging in
yeah,
there,
their
winning some
defense
games.
has been getting better as well. Um, the key to me is, does Cleveland have enough weapons or enough offense to stick with Denver, who isn't going to score a lot of points, but they have enough weapons to make it tough.
Yeah, I think the home field advantage is going to be the difference here. So I'll take the Broncos in a low scoring. It could be a 17-14 game. So I'll take the under.
All right. I took Denver as well. I took the over only because it could be, 24-17 or something like that. Not real high, but they might get some points or they might get something on I don't know. Just a hunch, and I went with the over, but that was one of those I was telling you I was really fighting the over under. And you're
Yeah.
probably gonna win the over under on that one. It's my feeling, but I just take a chance. So the Rams and the Cardinals in Arizona. It is a 1 point for the Rams. They're giving up a point to the Cardinals in Arizona. The over under is 44.5. The Cardinals are, I'm sorry, the Rams are going to be without Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, that was official. I know he was questioned, but
Yeah, I think it's official.
um, but they also get the Kyron Williams back. They're running their
That's
star
true.
running back.
Yeah.
I had the Cardinals. I had the Cardinals, but then when Kyron Williams is going to play, I'm going to switch it and go with the Rams, and I'm going to take the over.
All right, Rams. I took the Rams as well, and I took the over as well for similar reasons. So, and part of the over too is I will say Cardinals offense has improved point wise and stat wise since Kyler Murray's been back in.
Yeah.
It's like 3.5 or 4 points more a game. So you gotta look at though I'm not the numbers guy, that's you. I some numbers you can't ignore, and the eye test too. I mean, they have played better on offense. I mean, even James Conner's running the ball better now,
Yep.
for some reason. So I think maybe that's because they're worried about Murray can roll out, he can run on his own, things like that. So, you don't have that focus on Connor, and he's able to get a couple of free steps and get a few yards here and there.
It'll be a good thing to see with Kyler Murray with
Yeah, at the end
Aaron
of the
Donald.
season, what's going to happen? Because he's got a guaranteed big contract too.
Hmm.
So it's a matter of what do they do? Do they draft somebody, keep him as a backup till his contract runs out? Do they try some kind of a trade for somebody that's desperate for a quarterback? Maybe they'll eat part of the salary to help them. Who knows? You're right. That's when it's going to be interesting after the season ends to see what happens there.
And the pass rush should be on this week.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did the same thing, Rams and over. Chiefs and the Raiders. I still have, I think it's 43.5 now on the over under. And 9.5. I'm thinking that might have changed. I mean, I'm gonna double check it here for us, buddy.
Yeah, it must have went up
It
because
went
it
down to
was
9, but
8.5.
it's still 9, and it is 42.5. So it went
42 and a half.
down half a point and a point.
All right, so it's 8.5.
No, it's 9.
Oh, so it was up to 10.
No, I had 9.5 down here earlier in
Okay.
the week. Well, maybe yesterday it's at 9 now.
All right,
And
9.
42.5 instead of 43.5, which is what it was earlier.
Yeah, after the
That
Monday
can,
night loss, after the
yeah,
Monday night loss, I like the Chiefs here. Raiders are struggling, even though they've been playing better under their new interim coach. So
yeah.
I'm gonna take the Chiefs, give the 9, and I'll take the over.
I think because the Chiefs have some receivers missing. Tony's going to be out. Hardman went on the IL or IR, so he's out 4 games. Tony's going to be out today. So it means they've got to start Valdez Scantling, old Iron Hands. It's funny, you got some receivers now saying that's one of the toughest catches in football. Okay. All right,
Yeah,
fine. He should have caught the freaking ball. I don't care. But he wasn't the only one. Uh,
Hmm.
you know, uh, they drop more balls than what's her name, Cardi B dropping it like it's hot. You know what I mean? I mean, it's bad, dude. Um, so let me double check this over under on the Chiefs. It is 42.5 now. Um, I think you're right on the over. I think KC will win the game. I think Vegas might cover because nine's a little high in the way Chiefs are playing. Unless Vegas makes a lot of mistakes and the Chiefs score some points on offense or special teams, I don't know if Kansas City is going to rout them. So I'm going to go with the over because I think the points will be high, but I think they might be high for both teams. I think Vegas is going to hang around. Of course, every time I say that, you get a game like the Dallas game the other day. So, but I'm going to go with Vegas to cover.
Okay.
I think that could happen. Buffalo, Philadelphia. It's at 3 for Philadelphia now. It was 3.5 earlier in the week. Is it 4? Over under is 48.5. Buffalo does have some defensive guys out, starters. I one's a DB, one's a linebacker. I wish I could remember their names. I could look it up, but I do know I saw that this morning. I'm looking at the crawl to see if it comes up while we're here, but I don't know if it will.
This should be a pretty interesting game.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Buffalo hasn't been playing up to their potential. But but that being said,
There it is. That being said, Bill's favorite
the,
phrase.
the Eagles secondary isn't great, and I think they're going to get exposed like Kansas City should expose them. I think Buffalo is going to be chucking it and chucking it often, and I this is going to be my upset here. The Bills will win the game,
Woo!
and the Eagles will get their second loss of the season.
It would not surprise me. You're going over or under on the 48.5?
Going to go over.
That 48.5 is tough on the over under for me. It's Eagles offense is to me. I think part of the reason Philly's going to have a problem with Buffalo's offense is Josh Allen. Mahomes they don't call running plays and do running plays for Josh Allen or for Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. I mean, he runs as a scramble on his own. Josh Allen will run the ball on running plays. And I think the Eagles will have a problem with a mobile quarterback. And he may have to because that defensive line for Philly is still great. But then if he runs the ball, especially outside every so often, they can contain a little bit. I think you're right. Philly could have a hard time stopping Buffalo. I'm not impressed with James Cook as a runner for Buffalo, but he can play a good supporting role, a pivotal role in support. So I think you're right. And of course, I did it one time and the Eagles lost. So, or no, I picked against them and they won. That's right. But I think it'll be a close game. I almost want to say it'll be a push at 3 points. Buffalo may come down and kick a game-winning field goal. But I'm going to go Buffalo to win the game. I think you're right. I think if they can stop Josh Allen, they could win the game from running the football. But boy, the cover is tough. That's where I want to say it's the push. I think it's going to be an over, but it's one of those that it's that close over I was telling you about. It could be a push. But since it's 48.5, it won't be a push. Yeah. That half a point kills you. I'm gonna go with the Eagles to cover, but I think Buffalo could win a close game. And I took the over. I think it'll be a high scoring game.
Well, if you're taking the Eagles to cover, they're giving the 3, so you're going to take the Eagles.
Um, well, I think
Because
Buffalo's going to
Buffalo,
win the game, but I think
right?
it will be within three.
Buffalo's underdog. So if you're
Oh
taking
yeah, so
Buffalo, you're taking the points.
So I guess I'd have to do one or the other, don't I? Yeah. Well, in that case, I think I got to go Buffalo across the board. I really do think they're going to win the game.
And the over.
Yeah, and the over.
Yeah, I think it might be like 27-24, which puts them
Yeah,
at 50.
which is
So,
gonna, well, 27-24 would make it an under, wouldn't it? Oh no, it wouldn't. No, it'd be 51. You're right.
yeah.
Uh, Baltimore and the Chargers tonight. My first inclination was to ask the question why. I I think this is going to be a bad night for the Chargers. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a really bad result that Staley would be fired after tonight. Might not even get to finish the season, especially after his tirade of, we have an offensive plan. I'm calling the defensive plays, or we have a defensive plan. I'll call. You don't have to ask that question anymore. Blah 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 blah. I think you're seeing a guy self implode. Uh, their offense isn't as good as I think they thought it was going to be, and their defense is not good, especially now Bosa's out. I just don't see it. I think it could be a rout. I think it's going to be an over because I think Baltimore is going to put up more than 30 points by themselves. Um, Talk me out of it, Bill.
Well, what's the line? 3.5 Chargers.
Down to three. I don't know
Oh, it's
why.
down to 3. It
Yeah.
was 3.5, which I liked. But I agree with you with the head coaching job. I'd like to see him lose just to get rid of him because the Chargers are definitely more talented than
Yeah.
what their record
Yeah.
shows.
They haven't been relevant in that division even in probably 10 years.
Yeah, but the Ravens, even though they have what I think they're 7-3, um, they're just haven't been impressive defensively. I mean, they've been beating up on the bad teams.
Right.
Uh, but I think the Chargers could actually air it out on that secondary also. So I'm going to take the Ravens to win,
Okay.
but I think it's going to be by a point or two. It could be like 31-30. So I'll take the
Oh,
Chargers to cover,
okay.
and I'll take the over.
You're taking the over, apparently. Okay. There's a difference
Yeah, I
there.
think this could be one where the coach goes for 2 when he shouldn't or should have. I think that's going to come back and bite him. They'll lose by like
Yeah.
a point.
Well, if it's close, he may hang on to his job for a while. But I think if it's a rout, they're not
Oh
even.
yeah, if it's a route, he's up. Yeah,
I
if
think
it's a
he's
route,
done
he's
the end of
definitely
the
done.
season, no matter what.
Yeah, I just
Uh,
think he's going to make a bonehead call that will cost him the
yeah.
game,
And if he does
and then
that, that's the
and
other
then
reason
he's going to be
he'll be
gone.
gone. You know.
So yeah.
Yeah, he'll be calling defensive plays from his couch next week. So, and last, and I'm going to say least. You know how they always say last but not least. Yeah, I'm going to go last but least. It is the Chicago Bears going to Minnesota, and Minnesota is giving up 3, which semi surprises me. I guess the quarterback situation is the hesitation, and the over under is 44.
Yeah, this should be a real interesting game. Chicago has been playing real well as of late.
Yeah,
Fields is looking good. They're moving the ball around, but I'm impressed with Dobbs that the Vikings
I am
got from
too.
Arizona.
I mean, even in the loss, he gave him a chance to
Yeah, he just gave him,
get him done.
uh, I like Minnesota here at home. I think it will be a close game. I'll still give the 3, and I want to take the under.
All right.
It could
I
be,
took
it could be,
Minnesota across the board as well. I did take the over.
be over. Yeah, I think it could be like a 21-17 game.
You could be right. I'm thinking more like 27-20. But again, with the over, I'm really struggling with that. So
Yeah.
uh, that's it. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games difference between odds or picks or over under. So we've got 8 differences. It'll make it another interesting week. We went through all our stuff before. We're within a game or two of each other and a couple of percentage points of each other. And we're both at this point right with Vegas. And folks, you got to remember we pick against Vegas's odds. So as far as I'm concerned, we're doing pretty good again, buddy. And you
Yeah.
gained game on me already. We'll see what happens the rest of the week. 8 games out of 10 left to have differences. That's pretty good. Yeah, only 2 are exact, it looks like. So
Hmm.
I'll take that. I'll take that. That makes it more fun for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know of any other major sports news that is out there except Michigan beating Ohio State yesterday. We'll see if that knocks Ohio State out of the top 4. Florida State struggled yesterday, but did win against Florida, so they may move up into that top 4 again. They were there for a while. I'm thinking it's going to be probably Georgia number 1. I'm sorry. They struggled for 3 quarters against Georgia Tech, but then pulled away after a tough play. It was the correct call. Georgia Tech's driving down by 10. They're driving now inside Georgia territory on 4th and 7. Ball hits the receiver in the chest, but he does get pushed first, and you're thinking it's pass interference. The refs called it that way. And then under review, it tipped the lineman's finger, and you could see barely. It must have taken 4 angles to see it. That makes it a deflected pass, takes away the DPI. Georgia takes over, and then they go down and score a touchdown. I mean, it had to be probably by the material on the glove of the defender. That's how close it was. You couldn't tell. I mean, it hit the receiver right where, but it is the rule. It is the right call, and that's how Georgia. And then they did pull away, and that's how they hang on. The momentum switched, and they pulled away to be. I think they'll stay number 1. Michigan will be probably number 2. Florida State undefeated, and Washington, I think, will both be your 3 and 4 teams, probably in that order. So I'm thinking Georgia, Michigan, Washington, and Florida State. I think Ohio State's going to be out of it now with 1 loss. Keep an eye out for Alabama. They're ranked 8th. They pulled a win out against Auburn yesterday. Last second touchdown pass, literally last play of the game. They're ranked 8th, but they have to play Georgia for the SEC championship. If they beat Georgia, they could move up into the top 4. And then you could see Georgia and Alabama both there if it's a close game again. And I'm only saying that not because I want Alabama to get there. I actually don't like Alabama. I don't like Nick Saban. But I also know that, boy, for some reason, they love Nick Saban in the play. If Alabama can get a break, they'll get it from the NCAA. And and they think what it is Alabama brings them more money. So they want to get marquee schools in there that'll bring them money. Interesting thing to see will be what happens to Ryan Day, Ohio State's coach at the end of the season, see what happens to him. There is a chance, too, that if Alabama loses and one of those other 4 loses, Texas could get in. They only have 1 loss. So they've got to win the Big 12 championship. But if they do, there's a chance they sneak in as the number 4 team. So the first 3 or 4, I think, are picked now. But the last week or these championship conference games are going to make a big difference, I think.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, it makes it interesting.
Yeah, it does. It does. And then I don't know if it's next year or the year after, they go to a 12-team playoff. I'm like, 4 is I always thought 4 might not be enough. I wouldn't mind it going to 8. I just think 12 is too many. But it is what it is. We'll see what happens from there. Um, Other than that, NBA is just moving along. Draymond Green, we've talked about that ad nauseum. He shouldn't. He should be wearing orange somewhere. I think. But
Mhm.
he'd look good in an orange jumpsuit. I think. But other than that, I don't know of anything else that's really major in the NBA or in the NHL. Everything seems to be going swimmingly smooth, I guess.
Yeah. Yesterday, or last night, the Flyers 0-0 going into overtime, and they actually pulled out a win in overtime. I mean, a shootout. So
Ooh, wow.
Flyers aren't looking too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not looking as bad as everybody thought they would be. I'll say that. I still can't root for
Right.
them. But you know
And
what?
uh, and then MLS, my team Union,
Yeah.
lost. They lost 1-0 yesterday in the
Oh, I
88th
saw that.
minute on a real bad call. I believe it was. It was an offsides. They looked at it. They saying it was inconclusive, which in soccer it isn't. It's either he's
You
offside
either
or he
are or
isn't
you
offside.
aren't, right? Yeah.
So they gave him the goal, and not that they
Oh,
deserved to win because
right.
the way they were playing, but still to lose on a technicality like that is
Yeah, that
just
makes it tough. That makes it tough. If you're going to lose, get beat. Don't get
yes,
beat because of a technical issue.
yeah.
So,
So
yeah, it's
so
not.
I'll be done with the MLS for the rest of the season because I don't
Oh, so
really
that's
follow
over,
the
right?
other
Yeah.
teams. So
So we're back down to unless pickleball starts going nuts. We're not. We're pretty much done now. It's down
yeah,
to the
that or cornhole, one or the other. Between
cornhole.
those two, they're the top two. They're the top two sports that people are playing now. They
Yeah,
love their
I see that.
pickleball
They
and they
love
love the
cornhole.
cornhole.
Mhm. And it's funny because I laugh because they're sponsored by Johnsonville. So cornhole sponsored by Johnsonville.
That's
I
it.
mean, there's I can't. It's too funny, but I can't go in because it's just a layup. You know what I mean? There's no.
Yeah.
I don't have to think of any creativity. It's just sitting there. I mean, come on. But it is what it is. It's funny, but yeah, people are really starting to play that big time. They do around here. They have tournaments and
Yeah.
kinds of stuff around here, and we're talking.
Some of them, yeah. I've been in a couple of tournaments just locally, and they're good, man. These guys are
Yeah.
good.
Oh yeah, these guys just throw it and it just drops in, and another guy throw it drops in. I mean, if it doesn't
They're
fall in,
amazing.
it's like, why? What'd you do wrong? It's outdoors, indoors, you name it, they're playing it. Teams, individuals, mixed
Yeah.
teams, all kinds of stuff. So it's that time. There is a big story out of LSU women's basketball. Angel Reese, who was the really big star last year in the finals, has been sat for 3 games. She's not injured, and they didn't even have her make a trip to. So first it was considered maybe academic, but that's been proven to be wrong. So they think it's internal between her and the coach, but neither one will comment on it. The coach is like, it's a coach's decision. And that's all she says. This is a coach's decision. And she leaves it at that. Didn't say it's disciplinary, didn't say there's problems in the locker room. They're still winning games. Um, but the last trip, they left her home.
Hmm.
And she posted something on Instagram, I guess, about it. But she's not playing. And no indication as to when. Supposedly she will at some point, but this, what the coach says that it's internal. They're handling it internal, whatever it is, and she doesn't have to comment on it, and she's not going to. And then she goes,
Yeah.
"Does the Bill Belichick?" Next question. And somebody
Yeah.
will ask it, and she'll go, "Next question." She makes her quick statement in the beginning, or answers the first question, and that's it. And I give her credit, the coach, for handling it that way, because if it is something the student did, you don't want to embarrass or humiliate the student either.
Right.
You know, whether it's on court, off court, practice, locker room, whatever. you don't want to throw the student under the bus. But this is one of the top 2 or 3 women in college basketball.
Yeah.
So
Don't know.
it's interesting to see, but even when she returns, we may never find out. Which I guess as long as it's not going to hurt the team, coach has to do what the coach has to do.
Yeah.
So, but that's an interesting story to keep an eye on. I think that's pretty much it, Bill. Unless you got something else.
Well, we got to thank our sponsor, our buddy
Oh,
Dennis.
that's like the most important part of the show, isn't it?
If
It really is. We do.
it wasn't for Dennis, there
That's
would be
that's
no
why
cheat
you
sheets.
that's why you're here, Bill. One of us has to keep track of these things, and it's got to be you, man. I mean, I got to write notes before everything here, because if I don't, I'm done. But you're hanging in there. So Violin Realty Corporation, my pal Dennis Ingraldi, as Billy mentioned, sponsors every Public John show, including from the cheap seats here, including the Public John podcast. We've only done it once, but we're gearing it up to do again. We actually went out the Cooking Up a Murder podcast, and we've done a few other things as well. Public John Radio may actually rear its ugly head pretty soon. Working on ways to get that up and running. So there's things out there that Public John Media does, and all of them get sponsored by my pal Dennis Ingraldi from Vineland Realty Corporation in Vineland, New Jersey. You can find them at 634 East Landis Avenue in Vineland. Their office is there. Their phone number is 856-690-9482. Again, that's 856-690-9482. Let Helen or the staff know that, or Dennis, if you see him in the office or call him, that we mentioned you from the cheap seats here with Public John Media, and let them know that we sent you their way. Anything you need real estate wise, whether it's residential, whether it's business, whether you want to buy, rent, sell, lease, whatever you need to do, Dennis and his crew not only could help you in the South Jersey area, but Dennis has resources all around the place. I was going to say all around the world, but I'm not sure he has fun in Germany. I'm not so sure. But Dennis does have resources in places that I would never have guessed. So give them a call. That's Vineland Realty Corporation, 856-690-9482. Again, if you're in the area and you want to stop by, 634 East Landis Avenue, and tell them Bill and John sent you from the cheap seats. And I'm sure that will get you, hey, that's great. And that's probably pretty much it. So there you have it. And there it is. Whip it good. Go to the thing, just don't whip it out. You'll get locked up. But other than that, that's it for us. We want to thank Dennis and the crew at Vineland Realty. I want to thank Billy and thank all the folks here at Public John Media for helping put this thing on. And enjoy the games, everybody, for the NFL this week. And keep an eye on the sports stuff. Here we are. We're way up high in the cold weather where I'm at from the cheap seats. Thanks again, Bill, and have a great week.
You too, pal. Take care, guys.
You too.